Thanks for checking out this video. So this is my top 25 Giallo and Giallo-esque ranking. This is my personal ranking. So if you're finding this and you're hearing what I'm saying and you're like, why is that in your top 25? It's just personal, and feel free in the comments to put your top 5, 10, 15, 25, whatever you feel like, even just your top one, or just talk Giallo in the comments. Also, I'm going to go ahead and say right now, if you like any videos that I do on my channel, please hit subscribe to my channel. It really does keep me motivated, and that's your best way to say thank you for the content I'm putting out there. But let me get to this. Oh, also hit the notification bell button. Now, someone had reminded me recently that a few times over the year plus I'd been doing intense Giallo film reviews, I had said that I would do a ranking list of like my top Giallo films. Now that I've watched 80 some Giallo films, I feel good about giving a nice ranking. That said, there are some other Giallo films still out there that I haven't seen yet that obviously won't be included in this list because I don't know if they make this list or not, including The House with the Laughing Window. I really want to see that one. Sorry, House with the Laughing Windows, it's plural. And there are a few other ones out there that they're just on my list. I haven't gotten there yet. But someone had reminded me recently, hey, can you do this now? They actually asked for a tier list, but I'm not going to do a tier list. I don't do those things. So I'm going to give you my top 25. I'm going to start with number 25. Oh, and a quick definition for you. I'm saying Giallo and Giallo-esque films. Giallo-esque films are just basically films that are heavily inspired by Giallo and basically try to be Giallo, but they're not technically Giallo films, mainly because they're not actually Italian-made films. So there are actually only 4 Giallo-esque films on this list, but I included them because I feel like people who like Giallo will like these films as well, most likely. So there are only 4 on there. There are 21 actual Giallo, like categorically Giallo films. So yeah, not going to say a whole lot about each one, but let's get it going. Oh, also, no spoilers. I don't want to spoil anything, because if anyone's finding this and they're like, I want to get into Giallo, what do you think are the best ones? I don't want to spoil anything for you. You can go through this list. Number 25, My Dear Killer by Tenino Valeri. Now, I was very surprised that this one was actually in a box set put out by Vinegar Syndrome of their Forgotten Gialli. I think it was in their second one, their second volume. There's 4 volumes. I need to get all 4, but I only have 1 and 2 at the moment. But it's got George Hilton in it. If you know Giallo, George Hilton is in a lot of Giallo films, and I have yet to find a Giallo film with George Hilton that I disliked. So it's a good film. It has a good feel to it. I was just shocked that no one had picked it up for distribution prior to Vinegar Syndrome snatching it, but I'm good with that. Now my number 24, Spasmo by Umberto Lenzi. This one, it has a very interesting story. It hits this kind of like, can you believe this person, can you not believe this person situation going on, which a decent amount of Giallo films will kind of do that. I like the story in the end. I like the twist, the reveal. It's a good film, so that's my 24. Number 23, The Psychic by Lucio Fulchi. Now, this one is trippy at times. There's a lot of kind of like visions / flashbacks, a lot of sequencing kind of issues with the film, but so it gets a little bit confusing at times, but it's really fun. It's really interesting, and I think in the end, when you find out what's really going on, it tells a cool story. So that's my number 23. Number 22, The Cat O' Nine Tails by Dario Argento. Just a fun, typical Dario Argento Giallo film. It's not going to be the only Dario Argento Giallo film that's on this list, because obviously he was kind of a master of it. He kind of set the tone for what a lot of people would try to copy as far as Giallo. He basically redefined it. Early on, it was being done by, people like Mario Bava, who actually made the very first Giallo film, and he had a great style to it and everything. But then Dario Argento came. He took great directing, great cinematography, and just kind of upped the violence, used a lot of cool colors, a lot of cool camera work, and that became the new definition. But yeah, Cat o' Nine Tails, fun film, typical Argento. That's my number 22. Number 21, Opera, also by Dario Argento. This one's fun. Love the killer. Killer's super sadistic in this one, so it might not be for everyone, but a lot of interesting situations that victims find themselves in with this film. A lot of focus on eyes, which actually that happens a decent amount in Giallo films. But yeah, so Opera is my number 21. Number 20, What Have You Done to Solange by Massimo Dallamano. This one, a lot of people talk about having like one of the greatest kind of twist endings to it. I enjoyed the ending to it. I thought it's a good story. It's a little overly long, but it's still really good. I can see where a lot of people at the time kind of were misdirected with where this was going to go for a particular reason, but it's a good film. So that's my number 20. Number 19, The Case of the Bloody Iris by Giuliano Carnemeo. A lot of people will point to this one as not being a great Giallo film. I think it's insanely fun. Plus, it has Edwige Fenech in it, and I'm such a fan of Edwige Fenech. She's my crush. Everyone's got their kind of Giallo crush if you're into Giallo. She's clearly mine. But good film. They use the color yellow a ton in this one. Good peril. Not the greatest gore or anything, but it's a good story, good time. Number 18. This is the first of the Gialloesque films. Don't Look Now by Nicholas Roeg. Donald Sutherland. Very mystery-driven Giallo-esque film that has beautiful setting to it. Great story. Pretty intense, great reveal at the end, pretty iconic reveal actually, so that's why that's my number 18. Number 17, Stage Fright by Michel Sawabe. This one's also, I think, known as Aquarius, which a lot of people know it as Aquarius. A killer with a owl mask on, going around terrorizing people in a theater. Cool setting, interesting story, fun chase scenes. It's a good, just fun, turn off your brain kind of Giallo film. Number 16 is another one of these Giallo-esque films. It's Knife and Heart by Jan Gonzalez. This is a queer film, and as in, queer culture film, very well done, very interesting. It puts a huge queer spin on the Giallo genre, which is very, very interesting. In the end, the story is cool. It looks really awesome, and some of the kills aren't just fun and interesting and gory, but they're also funny to a certain degree. But I think this is a really well done Giallo-esque film, and that's why it's my number 16. Number 15, Who Saw Her Die by Aldo Lotto. This one's a lot of fun. I think it's coming to Shudder soon, too, in July. The end reveal is a nice reveal. Once again, I think they used kind of like the streets of the town they were shooting in to pretty good degree. It's got good twists and turns to the film, and Aldo Lotto does make good Giallo films, pretty underappreciated. You might hear him again in this list. So that's my number 15, Who Saw Her Die. Number 14, some people are going to be shocked this is so far down on my list. The Bird with the Crystal Plumage by Dario Argento. I know this was kind of like the quintessential Giallo film by Dario Argento that really kicked off the craze around Giallo films and started a lot of them being made, including films that'll be on this list ahead of it in the rankings. But yeah, pretty revolutionary at the time. Like I said, this is kind of what set the framework for what a lot of people ended up doing with Giallo films. It's got good violence to it, good peril, a very interesting, intriguing story, and how the case ends up getting solved in the end. So number 14 is The Bird with the Crystal Plumage. Number 13, we're hearing about Aldo Lotto again already. Short Night of Glass Dolls by Aldo Lotto. Some people say this one's really like slow and boring. It is slow, but I think this is a much deeper film than your typical Giallo films. It has a lot to say from a societal standpoint, especially with what was going on in the time frame of when this film was made. So it's deep, but also like the ending of it for me is very intense. It's very terrifying in my opinion, and it's probably one of the most terrifying like endings when you really think about it that I've seen in a Giallo film. Short Night of Glass Dolls, really good. That's my number 13. Number 12, A Blade in the Dark by Lamberto Bava. This is more of a fun one. It's not like a great Giallo film, but I like it a lot. Really violent. They went heavy on the violence on this. They went pretty well on the kills. Some of the kills are a little dumb, but most of the kills are pretty good. Really good kind of like someone working on a movie within a movie. There's kind of like a little bit of like a movie inception thing going on with this film that I really like as well, and the acting is fun. So, A Blade in the Dark, number 12. Number 11, Death Walks on High Heels by Luciano Ercoli. This one also good story, great acting in this one, great look to the film. Luciano Ercoli is another one who's a little underappreciated, I think, as far as Giallo films go, but he's put some really good ones out there. Also, Death Walks at Midnight is just outside of my top 25, so just know that. So, yeah, Death Walks on High Heels, my number 11. Number 10, A Lizard in a Woman's Skin by Lucio Fulchi. This one is trippy. It's all over the place, much like his film The Psychic. It is crazy. There's like drug-addled stuff in it. There's like flashbacks. There's like nightmares. It's trippy, it's crazy, you don't really know where the story's going. It feels a little bit overly long, but it's really well put together. Very intriguing, intricate story, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. There's a great payoff at the end of this film. So my number 10, A Lizard in a Woman's Skin. Number 9, Eye in the Labyrinth by Mario Caiano. A lot of people haven't even heard about this one, at least people who are more like casual Giallo fans. I didn't know anything about this one, hadn't heard anything about it going into it, but I was shocked at how good it is, and no one really talks about it. The story is very intriguing to me. It takes it kind of a cerebral route, and some of the deaths in it are pretty brutal. Not just the acts that are going on, but the sound design that goes along with it. I was just like, oh man. So like, it was a pretty intense film, and I wasn't expecting it. So that's why number 9 for me is Eye in the Labyrinth. Number 8 for me, Paranoia, also known as Orgasmo, by Umberto Lenzi. Now, this was one on Severin Films box set of the Lenzi Baker, because it has Carol Baker who stars in it. This is a over-the-top, nuts storyline with equally as over-the-top characters to it. Carol Baker does a great job in it. It has a very cool twist in the end, and I just love it. I mean, Umberto Lenzi does a phenomenal job as far as directing and cinematography with his films. Made a lot of good Giallo films. So, Paranoia / Orgasmo is my number 8. Number 7, this is another Giallo-esque film. It's Dressed to Kill by Brian De Palma. Michael Caine in it does a wonderful job. Nancy Allen does a wonderful job. It's an overall great film. If you know Brian De Palma, his films always look amazing. A lot of people have pointed to this film and kind of cited where a lot of it's been taken directly, some of the shots kind of taken directly from The Bird with the Crystal Plumage, I believe. Something Dario Argento. I think it was The Bird with the Crystal Plumage. But it looks beautiful. It looks amazing. De Palma always doing an amazing job with, cool camera tricks and camera angles. And there's so much under the skin with this film. There's so much at play from a thematic and a subtext standpoint that it's just such a rich, interesting film. And it's very Giallo-like. So that's why Dressed to Kill is my number 7. Number 6, A Bay of Blood by Mario Bava. Now, this one people wouldn't say is like the most interesting story. I would say it's a pretty interesting story. A lot of people cite this as not being one they love just because the ending is kind of really wacky. But if you really think about what the ending is trying to say about the film in general, it's actually pretty interesting and a little bit deeper than you would think it is. But the deaths in it are pretty good. They're pretty brutal at times. The characters are pretty over the top and wacky, especially if you're watching it dubbed, which is how I prefer my Giallo films because it adds that extra cheese factor to it. But yeah, A Bay of Blood, great fun film. Looks wonderful too because come on, Mario Bava. Mario Bava is like the best. My favorite director. Anyway, that's number 6, A Bay of Blood. Number 5, another Mario Bava film, Hatchet for the Honeymoon. I think as far as Giallo films go, this is a pretty unique story. It's told from the perspective of someone you're probably not going to expect. And there's a really cool twist at the end that I just did not see coming. Once again, like A Bay of Blood, it looks wonderful because Mario Bava is an amazing director and cinematographer, and I love it. Bay of Blood is wonderful. So that's my that was number 6. Number 5, A Hatchet for the Honeymoon. Number 4, The Strange Vice of Mrs. Ward by Sergio Martino. This film has so many twists in it. I did not see that coming. There's like 3 or 4 twists to it, and they hit like pretty quick. Like you almost get whiplash at the end of the film when all these are coming at you, and it's like, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. Like I was getting overwhelmed. Great rewatch value to the film. It's really well put together. Great acting. I believe George Hilton's in it. I know Edwige Fenech is in it. Obviously, my crush. I love her. Wonderful film. Looks great. Awesome story. Lots of great twists. Love this film. So number 4, The Strange Vice of Mrs. Ward. Now number 3, Tenebrae by Dario Argento. Very violent. Probably one of the most violent, bloody Giallo films I've seen. He really upped the gore factor, especially with kills at the end of the film. It's got a really cool story to it that has a lot of societal subtext to it as well. So I think this is definitely one of Dario Argento's best films in general, in my opinion. It's just super entertaining, really cool shots in it, and yeah, it's a wonderful Giallo film. So Tenebrae is my number 3. Number 2, Blood and Black Lace by Mario Bava. Once again, like the other Bava films I talked about, looks phenomenal. The use of colors in this film, I think, probably gave the idea of color usage to Dario Argento, who then made it a much bigger thing. But if you look at the color usages in Blood and Black Lace, which came out before, I believe it came out before The Bird with the Crystal Plumage, although you can correct me if I'm wrong. The colors are very interesting. They're very cool. This film looks gorgeous. I had my wife watch it with me. She's not into Giallo or horror films, but she even said, like, it looks so cool. And the setting is awesome. It's like a fashion design company where the killings are happening. And yeah, it's interesting. It also has a very interesting weapon of death in it that no one will really see coming. It's very weird. But number 2, Blood and Black Lace by Mario Bava. That brings me to my number 1, and some people can probably guess it because they're like, this is a film that must be on the list, and if it hasn't been said yet, it's number 1. Deep Red by Dario Argento. I love Deep Red. It is so entertaining. It is violent. It has a good story to it. The acting is wonderful. Architecture, the cityscape is used so beautifully within this film. Everything looks gorgeous. This is, for me, if you're going to have me just watch one Giallo film over and over and over again, it's going to be Deep Red because there's so much rewatch value. It's so interesting and beautiful and fun. Plus the Goblin score. I can't not talk about the score from Goblin. It's just, it doesn't match the movie, but because of that, it's wonderful. I don't know. It's just like upbeat and funky and crazy. And at first you're just like, this doesn't make sense with this movie. But then you just give into it and you're just like, I dig this so much. It's awesome. So yeah, number 1, Deep Red. So that's my list. That's my top 25 Giallo and Giallo-esque films. So feel free to just talk about it in the comments with me or give me your rankings or just your top 1 or whatever. If you also want my kind of bottom rankings at this point to go over, I could potentially do that at some point. That's obviously not going to be as fun to talk about, but I'll tell you, Slaughter Hotel is on there with Klaus Kinski. I mean, come on. But anyway, hopefully people enjoyed this. Let me know. Put it in the feedback in the comments. Like I said, subscribe to my channel. Please hit the notification bell button. All that jazz. Regardless, though, I really thank you for taking your time to check out this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And until next time, keep it brutal.